Hi guys, welcome back. It's Alexa with Lexi's Expressions. I am so excited about this tumbler. We are going back to Christmas. So leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Check the details for the list of materials that are used here, and I hope you enjoy. All right, let's get started. So I first painted my tumbler in pink acrylic paint. It was too cold to use spray paint, so I decided just to paint it. Once it dried, I coated my whole tumbler in epoxy. I do this to glitter. You do what works for you. Some people will use glitter glue. I like to use epoxy. I feel like the glitter sticks much better. I used a chunky glitter, so I used my little shaker to get rid of all the chunks and just used a fine glitter. I then wrapped my tumbler in parchment paper because you really want to lay that glitter down. It'll be a lot easier to epoxy and less work in the long run. I then coated my tumbler in epoxy. I used 30 milliliters, and that was enough to be able to move to the next step. This is where we do our peekaboo. I cut out my stencil in vinyl that I know I'm not going to use. This is a permanent vinyl, but if your tumbler is fully dry, the vinyl is easy to remove. After I place my snowflakes, I then go out and I spray paint my tumbler. I don't show this, but I used Rustoleum Candy Pink. Next, I'm gonna glitter, and how I find my snowflakes and my stencils is I use a little glue gun and I place a little dollop of glue right in the middle of the snowflake. This helps me find my stencil to be able to peel it. I mix together 2 different colors of glitter for this step. I did list these in the description below. I then coat my whole tumbler in about 5 milliliters of epoxy. I don't use very much. I then just dump glitter all over my epoxy, remove those little pieces of glue, and peel back my stencil. And I also remove my tape at the bottom. I forgot to record, but after I'm done peeling, I flatten my glitter with parchment paper like I did with that first step. I then seal in all that glitter with 25 milliliters of epoxy, and this is enough epoxy to be able to place my decals. Okay, so I'm gonna slow this part down because I wanna talk about this. There's different ways to place a UV DTF decal. These crack really easy, especially the way that I place them, so I wanna explain how I do this. I pull the backing and I cut a little bit of the backing off so I can line it up on my tumbler. Once I find the position, I go ahead and secure it down. Now, this is where it becomes really important. You do not want your decal to crease. So I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to lay it flat. If my thumb slips and that decal pops up and creases, it will crack. So it's really important to keep that flat. Now, if it's easier to just lay it down from the middle and press the sides out, do that. But this is how I do it, and I'm successful at it because I've done it many times, and I've also cracked many decals. So again, you do what works for you. This is just how I line it up because I can't seem to just place it in the center where I want it. Now these decals are small enough to where I just peeled the whole backing off, placed it, and then pressed from the center out to the sides. And I just placed them in all the negative space. Once I got all my bigger decals where I wanted them, I then went back and took all the little decals, the little cakes, candy canes, snowflakes, and again, I just placed them in all the negative spaces around the bigger decals and my bigger snowflakes. Then it's time for epoxy, and we are gonna add more glitter. I love this glitter. It's called Sleepyhead by PDP Glitter. I use this pretty much on every tumbler, and what I do is I mix a little bit of my resin in with it and completely submerge the glitter in epoxy. That will allow the glitter to sink when I splash it on my tumbler after I coat my tumbler with epoxy. So I go ahead and do a full coat, and I take my finger and I just splash the glitter around in the epoxy, and this again allows less steps of having to sand. Once that dried, I did add another coat of epoxy. I like to have a smooth tumbler prior to placing my drips and my final coat. I mixed up 10 milliliters of epoxy and added my pink acrylic paint. I'm now adding my cornstarch, and I just keep adding it until it's the consistency that I like. Typically for whipped cream drips, I do like my consistency a little thicker so that I can control my drips. I tested out. What I do is I put just a little dollop on the side of the tumbler, and I just kind of watch it to see how fast it drips. I added a little more cornstarch, and then I just went and placed my drip all around the rim. And then what I do is I go back and I just add a little more to certain areas and contour the drip to where I like it, and I'll just pull a little bit down here and there. I then take my finger and go all the way around the rim just to give it an even lip. Next, I just sprinkle a little bit of glitter around the rim. I typically make the glitter thicker right around the rim, and then I sprinkle it down the drip just to kind of give it that ombre look. And then I do the same thing with my sprinkles. I use my little wax stick to place the peppermint candies and also the hearts. I then let my drip sit for about 10 minutes to thicken, and that's when I go and place my marshmallows. They're heavier, so if I place them too soon, they slide down the drip and you'll have to just keep pushing them up. I then place my candy canes and my bigger peppermint candies. Once that fully cures, I then go and take Mod Podge and I paint my marshmallows and my sprinkles with it. This will help the resin adhere. I then add my final coat. I use Artist Cure. I allow this to cure for 72 hours before I touch this tumbler. I know my customer is going to love it, and I didn't mention that Dreaming of a Pink Christmas decal, we decided last minute we wanted to add a quote. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think, and I can't wait to be able to craft with you guys again. Have a great day.